If you watched the last video I did about portfolio building, then you know that this is part 2 of the portfolio building series, and I told you guys I was going to do a part 2 where I'm going to show you a step-by-step tutorial on how to design your portfolio. If you haven't watched it, I really encourage you to watch that video before you watch this one. But today we're going to jump on Figma, and I'm going to show you step by step on how to actually build out your portfolio in a design format that's going to make sense. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Gloria and let's get to it. So we are going to start with me loading up Figma. Of course, you guys can already see I already have a lot of the things that we're gonna do already set up because I was really preparing for this particular video, and I am going to choose the case scenario of a software, not a software rather, but a social media manager portfolio, because in my experience that is the easiest portfolio to come up with, because honestly a lot of the layering and a lot of the projects that you're gonna do are already defined for you. So as you guys can see, I already have 3 main colors that I'm gonna use. So the first one is the base color, which is color white, which is going to be the color that's going to be most dominant on this particular portfolio. Then we have purple, which is the complementary color, and then we have black, which is going to be essentially for all the writing, or if not all, most of the writing. Now, as we jump into the designing process, the first thing that goes into building your portfolio, especially for the hero section, is going to be, now before I even talk about the hero section, I think it's worth mentioning that I am actually designing a portfolio website landing page so that you guys have a bit of understanding why I'm talking about the hero section, the project section, as well as the other sections I'm gonna mention. The first thing that you need to know in your header section or your hero section is that you're supposed to have a menu, and this menu is supposed to generally give the navigation of your website. So as I pull up the menu, you guys can see that that is the first thing that I have aligned on our page, and you can see that I have aligned the navigation bar, and you can see I've highlighted all the sections that we are going to be covering. Now after that, the next thing is going to be adding your profile photo. Now I did find an amazing cute profile photo from free websites, but you can have your own photo, and I am going to load it here because I would want the person who's landing on my portfolio to know exactly how I look like and who they're gonna work with, right? So the next thing that's gonna follow once I have indicated all that is going to be the description of who I am and everything that I bring to the table. And as you guys can see, I have covered the name. So the first thing is the name of the person who owns this particular portfolio. Then we have the managing your social media statement, which is your elevator pitch, and then I have indicated Instagram and LinkedIn, as well as a call to action, which is book the discovery call. Then the second part that makes a portfolio really essential is the experience as well as the tools that you use as a social media manager that makes you qualified or makes you the right candidate for working with a particular company. Now, that is why the second section is the tools and experience level section. So what I'm gonna indicate on this particular section is not going to be a lot of information. Rather, I'm going to indicate the tools I use as well as the experiences and the proficiencies that I have. Now, for these particular proficiencies, I'm going to have them categorized in 3, because essentially the selling point of me as a social media manager is going to be the skills that I really excel at. I'm going to pull out these 3 particular cubes of information that I had earlier created. As you guys can see, I have indicated 3 main skill sets that are going to be basically describing who I am and what I do. And I've talked about social media strategy, where you can see it's indicated 2 years experience. Then we have social media management, which has 17 plus months of experience. And then we also have content creation and videography, which is essential, especially if you're a social media manager. The people who are hiring you will expect you to be doing the videography, the content creation, as well as the social media strategy for all the social media profiles that you're going to use. Now, bear in mind that there are other skills that you're going to be marketing yourself in, but you're only going to highlight the ones that really make you stand out and good at what you do. And that is why I've indicated these three main ones, because each of these has over 1 year plus experience. The next thing is going to be indicating the tools and all the products or softwares that I use to do my social media management practice. So what I'm gonna do, because I would want this to look really nice and clean, I'm going to expand my area in terms of tools and experiences, and then I am going to add this one more tool that is going to be essential. Now I'm going to walk you through the tools that I've essentially selected in this particular portfolio. Now let me walk you through. So for the Google Workspace, that is supposed to maintain the administrative part of doing a social media work, so documentation of the projects, ensuring that I deliver the content on time, having a drive where the client can be able to upload probably the ideas they have about their social media account and the social media marketing. Then we have Metricool. This is a very good tool when it comes to management of multiple platforms, so that could be a tool I use. Then we have Canva there. Canva basically is there for design and maintaining an aesthetic theme when it comes to the content that I get to create. ManyChat is for the automations on TikTok and on Instagram when it comes to comments as well as responding to DMs. And then we have Asana for project management to ensure that I keep everything nice and clean and organized, just in case the client wants to follow up with the progress that I make as a social media manager. Then the next section is going to be the project section. Now the project section essentially is where you're going to highlight 3 to 5 of your best projects. Now in this instance, I'm only going to highlight 3. So if we jump back into Figma, you guys can see I already have the sections indicated, and I am going to be pulling up the projects that I am talking about. I'm going to grab my first project, which is indicated as project 1. You guys can see it has a purple background. That's because I also want to stick to the colors that I've decided are going to be my brand colors for this particular project. And then I am also going to pull up my second project and my third project, and of course I'm going to enlarge them so that you guys can get a basic understanding of what has been indicated there, as well as the buttons that have also been indicated there. Now once I've had my projects aligned, I'm going to expand this so that you guys can see what I have indicated in my projects, as well as align the section header. Now when I enlarge this, you guys can see that I have indicated 3 main projects. Now these 3 projects are talking about different skills in my social media management. Now these are 3 different companies that I've been able to work with, and the first one, you can see we did content planning, whereby I've indicated a calendar for April 2025 with the projects and the content calendar that we came up with the team when we were working on that particular project in terms of Axial, the company. Then we also have 2 other projects. Now we have the Mind Master Instagram management. This is a project probably that I was contracted to do their social media management, and you can see there are 2 buttons there where you can view the project, or you can also read the project summary. Now the most important thing about your projects, especially on your portfolio, is to ensure that you have documentation, because if you want to prove your ability to deliver, you need to have a summary of the projects that you've been able to work on that actually communicate your process, how you are able to do things, the overview, the results, and what the client said about your projects. And that's why read the project summary as a button is indicated there. So once that's done, the next part is your services section, where you're going to indicate the list of services that you're offering. Now in this particular portfolio, I'm sticking to 2. So I'm sticking to consultation, and I'm also sticking to social media management, because I also want to make sure that the people who are landing on my portfolio, they know the exact number of services that I'm offering and which services I can be able to offer them in advance. Now jumping back into Figma, what I'm going to do is I am going to pull up what I had indicated to be my services, and you guys can see I have one, which is the one-on-one consultation, which I am going to pull out and I'm going to put it in the middle because I want to use the same amount of space since I'm having only 2 services. And then I am also going to pull the other service and I am going to bring it back. Let me just undo that action. And I'm going to pull it into the services section, and you guys can see the 2 services. They have also been indicated the prices. Now I'm gonna walk you through what I was really thinking when I was indicating what people are gonna expect from me. Now, walking you through the Book Me for SMM services, I just have one statement that tells them exactly what they're going to get, which is full social media management package for $250 per month, right? And then there's also the button to book a discovery call. That is the most essential thing about you communicating your services, because they would want a clear understanding of what are they getting, how much is it going to cost them, and how can they get in touch with you. Because essentially when a client lands on your portfolio and they've been impressed by what you've presented to them, the next thing they'd want to do is to either book you or to get a more understanding of what you can deliver. And that's why book a discovery call is very, very essential. And then after that, we have the contact section. Now in this particular section, you're only supposed to indicate the things that are going to be essential. Now for your contact information, basically what you want to indicate is either your email address or a form where they are going to fill and they're gonna give you the details. Now I'm going to pull out my form because I can see it just here. I'm going to pull that form and I'm gonna bring it in so that you guys can see that form. So there is the form. And then the other thing I'm gonna be pulling up are going to be extra additional information, which is information with regards to my location so that they know where I'm located just in case they want to work with me, and also my contact phone. So just in case they want to call me on phone, they also have the contact details. So I'm hoping that you guys found this video particularly enlightening. If you did, then make sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't done so already. There's gonna be a part 3 where I'm going to be implementing the design that we've come up with into an actual working portfolio. So make sure you've subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss that video. If there's any question I've not been able to address in this particular video that you feel would be very informative in terms of building a portfolio, feel free to let me know in the comments section. But that is it from me. If you feel like sticking around, I did do a video talking about a step-by-step process on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, especially if you're an independent contractor, a professional, or someone who's looking for clients. This is a video that's going to help you optimize your LinkedIn profile. I am going to link it here, and of course I am going to see you in the next one.